Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Big Talk about Small Business. I'm here with my partner, Eric Howerton. It's always good to see you.
You too.
What are you thinking about this morning?
I'm just thinking about how you and I prepped for this podcast.
We did.
For about 4 minutes, maybe 5. And I just think it was a really, really great idea.
Maybe it will help us be a little bit more directed because we can tend to go sideways sometimes.
I think this is going to be one of our better podcasts now.
I do too. But we'll leave that up to the audience to determine. Our growing audience, it's great. We're having more and more subscribers.
We are. It's really cool to see folks because doing podcasts, actually, you just have opportunity to hit people from places you would never expect.
Yeah, like in the Netherlands, they could be listening to us right now, right?
Yeah, we had somebody from, I think, Africa or something like that was tuning in.
I saw that.
On analytics as well. So that's cool, man.
It is cool. It's very cool. And this stuff is universal.
And we're getting really a lot of great questions in, too, which is really neat. We're going to be doing those in the next episode.
That'll be
these
fun.
Questions. We've had some interesting ones, haven't we?
Oh, man, no kidding.
You had one from Cincinnati that we were kind of talking about just before this as we were doing our prep.
I'm not sure we can even talk about that one on the air. We'll see.
Yeah.
Well, we may have to do a little editing there. But so anyway, today I did want to talk about something that I think is very interesting.
Cool.
And what that is my students in my small enterprise management class at the Walton College at the University of Arkansas at Fayetteville.
Okay.
I think I got all
in Northwest Arkansas.
Yes, the Sam M. Walton College of Business.
Wonderful.
But which, by the way, just keeps getting better and
It's
better.
It's a fantastic school.
Our ratings keep going up in just about every category. It is fun working for a growing, successful organization like the Walton College.
Well, I think it's like even like business, right? Like you have great leaders there.
It is.
Like Mr. Matt Waller and Britt.
And Brent is a great guy too. I mean, we really have had some great deans.
Really have.
So I'm proud to be there. But anyway, in that class, my students have to work with a small business, something privately held doing less than $10 million a year in revenue.
Okay.
And then make their recommendations to the owners, identify issues that they find, and then make their recommendations to the owners to increase revenue, increase profitability, increase the value of the enterprise, and reduce the risk for the owner.
Nice. Those are that nice, strong 4 important bullet points.
They are. That's kind of sums it all up, really.
So do they go in, does it have to be in person? I mean, do they go in and interview the owners and different people on the team or what?
Yeah, they use a variety of tactics that we talk about. Certainly going to the business, observing, talking with customers or clients, talking to the employees, surveying potential customers and clients, talking to the owners, getting all the financials. That's one of the requirements, is they have to get whatever financials these companies have, which in some cases are in horrible condition, which I'll come back to here.
Like just the financials themselves, not that they're losing money, but they just have terrible record keeping.
Right. A lot of them are losing money too, by the way.
Right.
But anyway, it's just fascinating to see. So they can use a variety of tactics. Sometimes they go to work there. Sometimes they do it on the business that they have worked at.
How long do they study?
Well, it's a semester-long project, and then the last 3 weeks they all present. They either work individually or with another student. So I just had 30-some-odd presentations in the last 3 weeks on these projects, and I thought maybe it would be good to just talk about some of the sort of generalized findings.
Yeah. No, I think that's cool.
I mean, it's always surprising when you see like what businesses are making money and which ones aren't.
Yeah.
To start with.
So what are some common threads on that? Who's making money?
Very simple businesses that do like one thing in a mature market.
Okay.
But are good at it. I mean, if you look at, it's amazing to me when you see companies like T-shirt companies and water delivery companies and people like that. And they just make a whole lot of money. They're a very simple business model.
Are they making a lot of revenue or profit or both?
Both.
Really?
Yeah. When I talk about when I say making a lot of money, I'm talking profit.
Okay.
Yeah, and usually profitable, like 30 to 40% of revenue. Some of these companies, and
wow,
you and I both know, like 10% is sort of the norm in just about every industry across the board.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if I was just to say, where are you going to start?
Yeah.
You know, 10%.
To have some benchmark is that like you're on your way to something.
Right, exactly. But, but anyway, so no, it's just seeing the, particularly, well, you said, what are the successful ones doing? The other thing they're doing is they're doing a lot of marketing.
Really?
Yeah, it's
that doesn't make any sense to me. I would think that if you are not making much money, you should cut marketing first.
Oh yeah, right. I'm sure you think that. So let's talk about those. I really wanted to focus on the people who aren't making money and what they're doing.
Okay.
Lots of common themes come up. First one is absentee owners, or largely absentee owner. That is a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
I go there once a week. I go there once a month. I take 2 months and go away with my husband to the Himalayas or whatever. Mm-hmm. Not a good way to run a business. Okay. For the most part, I can't. There was one company where the owners had evidently come up with a really good formula and they could get out of it for 6 weeks or more at a time, of all the companies that we saw. But the rest of them all had problems from that.
So I have to admit, I have a little guilt with that currently.
Dude,
I mean, I don't think I'm not, I don't know what that gauge is of absenteeism.
Right.
You know, and I think that it's going to change. My intention is, I'm just being transparent with you, right?
Sure.
So you can yell at me and I can get off my butt.
Be transparent. I'm not going to yell at you though, because I already think I know what you're going to say.
Yeah. So like right now, like I haven't been as engaged as I want to be because I've got, you know, other things going on.
Got a lot of things going on.
Yeah, I got a lot going on, but hopefully at the start of the next year, it's going to work out where I can be a lot more engaged. But I mean, at the same time though,
you just have to be a surgeon.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
You've got to have good managers. I mean, you do that. You develop those people.
True. No, I do spend time with the people.
Yeah. And I think that's really the important thing.
Yeah.
But, you know, we try to run real businesses where we pay people decently and such.
Yeah.
A lot of these small companies that you see, there's the owners and basically everybody else is treated like crap.
Gotcha.
There's no real, that's another problem.
They're not empowered. They're not led. They're not talked with. They
have no idea how the company's performing or anything.
Gotcha. They have no plan, no vision laid out.
Nope.
All that kind of stuff. So like when you say absentee, like, I mean, just so the listeners can understand a little bit, and I'm also curious, like, I mean, you mentioned being gone for a month, or are they like?
Yeah, I live
did
in
you
Little
see a
Rock,
thread?
and I come here to Fayetteville once a month.
Okay,
that's one model.
Got it.
The other model is I own it, but I just don't show up very often
because you just want to see a ROI of your investment.
Yeah, I'm just not that interested in it. It's the conclusion in a lot of cases. They're not really passionate about it.
Gotcha.
So they've sort of disengaged, like they've almost given up. It's like, what do they call it? The people who quit but still stay. There was some sort of a term,
like a lame duck or whatever.
No, there was some sort of a term that was real popular. Quiet quitting. I'm there. I've quit mentally though. It's quiet quitting.
That's.
I think they're doing that on their own business. You know.
Do you think have they been like owners that have owned the companies for quite some time and they're just phasing out?
Some cases they inherited them. Some cases they started them with partners who bailed out. There's a variety of situations, but the bottom line is they're not paying attention to that business the way you have to.
Yes.
Even if you want to keep everything going. Okay.
Yeah, because you have to, if nothing else, be driving some freaking sales, man.
Yeah,
you got a campaign. You got. There's so much to do, but I mean, if you could just be a campaigner for that business, like you're out stirring up the market,
you're doing something that's positive for the business.
Yeah. I can. Okay, I feel a little bit better about myself then.
But I've been there like you, where I felt like I wasn't doing anything well. I was trying to do too many things, and in some cases, I think my thoughts were correct.
Yeah,
I was trying to do too much and not doing a very good job at it.
Yeah.
But anyway, so back on these companies though, not spending anything on marketing, the ones that are bleeding or going downhill. It's just a universal thing.
Just $0.
$0 in marketing and promotion. And they're sitting around talking about how bad the climate is and whatever.
It's everybody else's fault, government's fault, competitors' fault.
Yeah. You're doing absolutely freaking nothing. You wonder why you can't even do 5 social media posts a day.
So they don't even do, when we say nothing, it's not only are they not advertising, they don't even have somebody that's out doing development, speaking, whatever it might take to promote that business.
Speaking, social media posting, I don't care what it is, they do nothing.
Yeah, you can't do that. Passive, just waiting. Just waiting for something to come by.
No, we believe word of mouth is the best form of advertising.
But they're not talking to anybody.
If they say word of mouth, it means we're doing absolutely nothing.
Okay.
Gotcha. That's what we're code word of mouth. We don't do anything for marketing.
Right.
Okay.
And they probably aren't doing anything for their existing customer base either. Like retention.
Customer service is bad. Okay. A lot of times because, again, you go back to what's another common practice, as we already discussed. Single person management, and nobody good works there, according to the owners. Okay, why? Well, you don't pay anything. You have no benefits. Why would anybody want to work there?
Yeah.
You don't share information. You don't share power. You know?
Yeah.
So, sure, then you have mediocre customer service. What do you expect?
Yeah. Yeah, it all comes back around, man. Everything works together in business.
It all works together.
And, the other thing, too, on the marketing side.
Yeah.
Like, I think that anybody could testify to this. If you work with a company that is highly promotional and believes in marketing, like, it's exhilarating for the team, man.
Of course it is. They feel like they're part of a winning team. Everybody knows who they are and what the company is. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. And you're getting your message out there. You're meeting new people. People are talking about you, and you feel good about working there.
But
you're doing activities with your fellow teammates to market. Yeah. I think that that's one of the things that, looking back at in Spiderland, that we did a lot, just a lot of event marketing.
Yeah.
We put on events, and our team would work that event.
You were an event in yourself.
Proceeds going to a charity.
You're
dressing up.
Cornhole things, your motor home, you decorated up.
Yeah, bago. We did all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
But you get your team, but that's I've never really thought about that, but your team camaraderie, and like people do things together and go work hard together.
Yeah.
And
well, that's a big part of it.
Then it is, and it cycles back around.
It does. And then the other thing, though, that I just wanted to mention, it's just their accounting sucks. They either deliberately account poorly because they're trying to avoid paying taxes, and they've got some businesses that bring in cash, or they're just completely incompetent. But really bad accounting, you just see this theme over and over again.
So, my perspective is don't play around with taxes.
Yeah,
in your
exactly.
business. Like, I've just never been one that's like you just don't mess with that crap, man. Like,
you don't want something to come bite you in the ass later.
Dude, like, you got enough shit.
You think you're doing well, okay?
You got enough shit in business that keeps you up at night. The last thing you want to do,
I agree,
is have a worry about not doing that, like, doing that right.
Sure.
And checking in on it. But
I know.
You're playing a dangerous game, and you're really not getting.
They'll shut you down.
The juice really isn't worth the squeeze at the end of the day.
No.
On whatever you might be skimming.
Yeah, I know. But you see this all the time, and it certainly impacts the value of the business, because then they've got no accurate financials that really reflect. Be like, hey, don't pay attention to that, because really, I take out another $50,000 a year, and here's how I get it.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Yeah, try telling that to a buyer.
Yeah, there's a lot of those conversations. But anyway, it was fascinating to see what a great job these students did. The other thing I guess I just wanted to say was the losers, the companies that weren't doing well, the owners resisted recommendations at a much higher rate than the successful company owners did, which, you would think would be the opposite. Like, the successful people would think, hey, I've got everything under control. I know it all. It's doing great. But they're more open than the ones that are losing money to other thoughts.
Which is probably why they're losing.
Bingo. The owners are not tuned in.
I wonder, I have no idea. This is all fresh conversation. We did prep, but we didn't talk about what you're going to talk about here. But I wonder if the number one response of the losers is, oh, we tried that, didn't work.
Hear that all the time when it comes to marketing.
Bro.
We tried that once, it didn't work. We ran radio commercials for a week. Hey, we sent out an email once and didn't sell a single thing from it. I've heard people say that.
Dude, you can't do that.
Okay, I know.
You have to be relentless.
Sustained, drip, 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 hammer, 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 hammer.
Dude, that's what I love about you.
You know?
Like, you taught me that so well.
It works.
Relentless. And you still use the word relentless. You should use the word relentless about this show that we're doing right now.
I know.
It's the great word. But it's so true. Like, you have to, like, that is squeaky wheel gets the grease, man.
You want to be top of mind when they have a need.
Constantly.
It's just that simple.
People's needs change. But circumstances change and they need somebody else.
Whenever I suggest outbound email to a business owner client as a strategy, what do you think the first response?
No, nobody opens that. I get that all the time. It's spam. I don't want to spam nobody.
Bingo. They all say that. Okay.
Yeah.
And so, and then when you do it, there's always going to be somebody that complains. But I always said to my people, look, if 50 people bought and one person complains, who the hell are you going to listen to? Okay? The one who complains, you're out of your friggin' mind. Right?
Dude, we learned so much about email marketing back in the day together.
I'm telling you.
I mean, for real. Like, so the backstory to that is I was working with Mark, right? Working with you at Zweig White, now called Zweig Group.
Yep.
We used to send, when I started working there, like, we were sending out so much direct mail.
Yes.
Dude, it was just so expensive. And it works. Direct mail works.
It was the end of the direct mail era.
It was.
Right there.
And we started getting into email marketing, which was at the beginning of the email marketing era.
Yep.
And we ended up shutting down the entire expense line of direct mail. Like, within 9 months, we completely eliminated it.
That's right.
But then we learned so freaking much. I mean, we had probably one of the most rigorous freaking email marketing.
It's true, but it saved the company.
Dude, it did.
Okay. You realize our revenue grew 60% over a 2-year period there.
Really?
Which is how we got back on the ink list.
That's great, man.
Okay.
And we were emailing.
Just emailing the shit out of them, man.
I remember like the spreadsheets that I would be managing of our email marketing for the week. It was intense, bro. Like, we were sending out 2 emails a day.
Or 3.
Or 3.
Yeah.
And then we had a daily wire that we came up with. But it was just this constant engagement with the audience. And to your point, we'd have unsubscribers.
Yeah.
But you let them go, man.
Right. We had a lot of problems with our products line at that point.
Yeah.
It was not all great, but we sold a lot of stuff to people. And
just slanging.
We saved that thing. But anyway, yeah, a lot of people don't understand like probability theory and the low response rate that you need across a lot of independent events to make that kind of marketing really pay off. But anyway, those were just some of the common sort of findings. The resistance to suggestions, I think is absolutely fascinating.
Man. So what you do is, like, it seems to me like you would have a non-engaged owner of the business.
Yep.
Who doesn't really care about growing the business, which is just detrimental.
They're always more interested in sucking money out than they are investing in.
Right.
They don't
care about the people.
Yep.
They don't care about the community. They don't care about the industry. None of that. They have no great vision.
Right.
Other than just sucking cash.
Yep.
And when they get opportunity to improve, of course they're going to be like, I'm good.
Right.
Like, I just don't have any energy.
Right.
What would you tell, like, if you could tell an owner that's in that situation, what would I tell? Yeah.
Sell your business, get out of it.
Yeah.
It's time to get out of it and do something different.
Yeah.
What would you say?
It's same thing.
Yeah.
It's like you're hurting people, man.
Right.
And you're hurting yourself.
You're put yourself in a state of limbo. You're not going to be happy there.
But what if they said that was my only source of income?
I'd say
you get a freaking job.
Hopefully you got some value there that's going to make it possible for you to. I saw one company I thought was very interesting too. When you say that, it was a grocery store that was owned by a family, And let's just say they did like 800,000 or 900,000 a year in sales, just like a small sort of community grocery store.
Yeah.
And they made so little money out of it. They made like 30 grand a year or 40 grand a year out of it. Okay. The family member that was running it. And they owned all their buildings and were not paying themselves rent.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, guys, why don't you just sell your buildings, put the money in a CD and get 5.25% on it, and you'll do better to not even show up every day. Okay. Sell all your inventory off, sell your buildings, or just say, keep your buildings and lease them out to somebody else.
Yeah. There
Make
you go.
$5 grand a month and not go to work. So anyway, people do sometimes have to make that choice. It's just not rational to carry on any longer.
I wonder if like one of the hard things about all this business stuff, and I mean, it's like, we're all human, right? And I think that we all struggle with the same things, or we're all facing the same things. It's just about it's really about how, and I know you might hate this word, but it is how you overcome and adapt and overcome.
Yeah, it's how you respond to whatever's happening.
Because shit's going to change, man.
Absolutely.
It's going to change so much. And I imagine these owners, like if they've been in the business and it just starts changing on them. I mean, like, I hear people talking all the time. I've had like 2 conversations this week about AI. And the fear, the looming fear, and it's like, it sounds, but man, you have to freaking engage with that, bro.
Embrace it.
You have to get on it. Yeah. It's just like the internet.
Sure. I mean, I remember
embrace the internet.
No, when email came out, I said to Fred White, what do we need this for? What do we need email for?
Yeah. It's
What's
like, we don't need it.
Yeah. God, what an idiot. Okay. Yeah, no, you got to engage with it. There's no question about it. You got to be willing to learn. You've got to have an open enough mind. I mean, it's the same thing with marketing. I mean, everything's changing all the time. Yeah, you could do something, it works for a while, and it just stops working.
Let's get into the marketing rabbit hole. I know that we talked about before this as we prepped that I had a couple of things I was wanting to talk about, but one of the other thing we talked about talking about was marketing, and I think this fits better for this conversation.
All right. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, let's talk about marketing.
Well, I mean, I think any company that wants to grow at a faster rate than the industry it's part of, or a new company that's not known, needs to be spending 2 or 3 times what the average firm in that industry spends on marketing. That's what I think. 2 to 3 times. How are you going to eat into the market share of the other guy if you don't do a lot more than they do? Much less what they do, and think that that's going to be your ticket to success.
I love that.
Not.
I love that. So I got another question for you. Like if I looked at my top line revenue, what percentage of my top line revenue should I spend in marketing? How do I determine my marketing budget?
Depends on the business. Okay. I mean, that's why I say you need to look at the industry that you're part of.
Okay.
They all have a norm.
So what you're saying is, so where do I go to find out what that norm
Every
is?
Industry is different. Like if you're in the architecture and engineering business, I'd send you to Zweig Group. They can tell you exactly what everybody spends.
So go find a research group or a company.
Professional societies, trade organizations. They're out there for restaurants. They're out there.
Can you check with your local chamber of commerce?
Maybe. They're out there for every industry, though, like car dealerships. Yeah. You can find any of that information.
So go there, figure out what's the industry norm, average of marketing expenditure.
Percentage of revenue, and then spend 2 or 3 times that.
I got it.
That's my magic number right there.
I like that. That's cool.
Yeah. Because, I mean, there's just some businesses that have inherently higher or lower marketing costs associated with them. Like if you look at like the swimming pool contracting business, it's going to have a really high percentage of revenue goes to marketing because people generally only build one swimming pool.
It's true. You're always looking for a new customer.
Exactly. So your marketing cost is just higher, baked in, in a business like that versus one that gets repeaters and keeps them for a really long time.
So what do you tell somebody that's like, hey man, I'm already running this business. Like I don't have the money to invest in more marketing. Like I'm cash tight.
Let's help you figure out where we can find that money because it's necessary.
Okay.
I mean, you're not going to get a big fire if you don't pour starter fluid on it every once in a while.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. You have to do it.
You have to do it.
That's the point of this conversation. Tell the listeners, you absolutely must do marketing.
You must, because you want your company to grow.
Right.
Okay. Not only do you want it to survive, you actually want it to grow. Right. When it grows, as we were saying earlier, everybody feels optimistic. Mm-hmm. They feel like they're part of something. That's motivational for them. That increases their opportunities. We've got to have good people. Good people don't want to be chained to a business that's going nowhere.
Right.
They want to see it grow. So the growth, and then that creates the value that you can cash in on at the end, because that's what buyers, in spite of what these friggin' financial jocks constantly talk about, multiples of trailing EBIT. Forget it. This is a growth company. Nobody gives a shit about that. I swear I'd like to strangle a lot of the financial jocks that have been trained through esteemed colleges of business and MBA programs who don't understand. It's a fun, there's a lot of things that contribute to the value. First off, a rapidly growing company, you've got to do projected EBIT, and then based on that revenue growth rate, and then net present value that back. That's going to give you a completely different number than history or where they are now. That's great for a steady state business.
Yeah, you can't value a company,
a growth company
based on historical EBITDA.
No, it's bullshit. Anyway, so the revenue growth rate is where all the value is, which is what all entrepreneurs are generally, that's the...
And so what you're saying is to prime that revenue growth rate pump.
Right.
You got to freaking market.
It takes capital, maybe. Maybe you got to get outside capital. You got to borrow on your house, or you got to take less out of the business, or some non-essential part of it's got to be carved off to find the money.
And so the next question then becomes, how do you do that in the best manner possible?
Well, you're the marketing consultant.
Yeah, so here's where I start getting a little pissed off when I get that question. If I have a client that would, in history that would come to me and say, hey, we're doing we want to invest more in marketing.
Right.
But what's the best way I can get my ROI? I would get really pissed off immediately because I don't know.
Right. And you're not going to know the ROI right away.
No,
it takes a long time of putting money into it.
Yes. And let me tell you something else.
That is exactly, but listen, Eric, we want to make data-driven decisions.
You better do some shit that gets you data.
Okay. I hear you.
You can't depend on it for very long. And let me tell you something else, because the second thing that would always piss me off is like, well, you can't prove ROI if you do this form. Here's the deal, man. I don't care what you do. The thing that would drive me insane is we're not doing that again because A, we don't believe that gave us good ROI, and B, we can't measure what that was. Yeah. And I would go absolutely insane because there is no such thing as doing any form of marketing that did not drive some sort of result. I can freaking go in to Heroes Coffee down the road,
right,
and meet with you, and I see somebody else there that knows me. I just did my marketing, man.
No, I know,
and that could have more ROI on it than freaking 50,000.
Was this bigger companies that you were dealing with that always wanted the?
No, not at all.
Okay, so this is smaller, it's privately
everybody.
Held. Okay,
it's a common thread because they've been listening to way too many people that are marketing to you to sell a book,
right,
or some sort of material, or you're listening too much in school from folks that don't understand and haven't been out there and driven a business, right, and marketed it and faced that, and
all the results should be data driven.
No, they can't be, and they shouldn't be.
The branding and all that, people don't really understand the value, what that does for you if it's done right.
Oh yeah, dude, it's huge.
It's huge. It's huge. It's absolutely huge.
I get criticism like back in the day. You know what? I'm gonna bust out the secret here. White Spider, the success of that company, in my opinion, and have been there from day one,
right,
was driven off of our vehicle wraps.
Dude, I don't believe it. You had a tremendous amount of brand recognition from that.
Constantly.
Everybody knew those cars that had spider webs on them.
Everybody did.
It's
and
true.
number two was showing the hell up to events where everybody was at.
I totally
shaking hands, kissing babies, man.
Listen, I could say much the same thing, though. Not that I ever got the kind of money out of it that you did White Spider in the end. But I could say the same thing about Mark Zweig Inc.
Yeah.
We had black trucks when every single other provider drove white trucks. We had great black signs with wooden posts that we made, by hand.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. And
you have to get your brand on, man.
It allowed us to charge more than anybody else for a house per square foot.
Because you look
it had
sharp.
Our brand on it. Yeah.
People trust that, man. It's a trust mark, man. I mean, there's so much study behind that. And I mean, of course the big brands know.
Familiarity breeds trust.
Totally.
It's just that simple.
And you look more polished. You look more reputable.
Right.
What's
that worth in a lot of circles, right? Like huge. Buying stuff or whatever.
And it's all, and I think at the end of the day, it's all relational, right? Like you cannot, your marketing is worth nothing if your relationship equity and vision of how important relationships are, your reputation is in the market. Like, man, I probably lost more money than I ever made in my businesses by make goods. Mm-hmm. Because I was hell-bent and determined to never,
preserve your reputation.
Ever fail.
I was always the same way, okay? I was always the same way. And when you find out you got an employee who's arguing with somebody about $200 or $300 or $500 or whatever, I'm like, dude, that's not the way I want you to do it. Give them what they want. Give them their money back, and then give them something else.
That's right.
Okay, to make them feel good. Yeah. It's like, we're paying for your bill. Also, what would you like for dessert?
That's right. And hey, by the way, let's go out and have coffee next week, and let me buy or have lunch.
Right.
So I can continue to talk to you, so I can regain your trust as fast as possible.
Yeah. Well, you're going to get the trust by not always having something in it for yourself from their point of view.
Yeah.
You know that. I mean, if you want to talk about selling, it starts out by not selling.
Exactly. It's genuine and just giving a shit about somebody else's business, man.
Right.
One things I've loved is in the Think and Grow Rich book. I just like that, man. I just
remember very little of it. Napoleon Hill. We all had to read it. My dad bought a copy for everybody in our family.
You got it. I read it. I reread it all the time. I wrote down certain things, but what I love is render your service first. Decide what you're going to do.
Right. Demonstrate.
Render the damn service first.
Demonstrate.
It's like, don't go out and forecast everything and then go raise capital and do all these different things. Render the service
Validate
first.
It. Yeah.
Just render the service first. If I'm trying to sell you something, I'm going to provide that service. And if, that's why money back guarantee and all those things work. It's not because they're great gimmicks. It's because the person that's buying that product or service is getting the service first, and then they shall pay.
Sure.
If they find it valuable. You came up with a campaign a long time ago. You saw it. I think Panera Bread did it. Pay us what you think we're worth.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I forgot about that, but you're right.
You came in, I think you went and got a croissant or something at Panera one day.
Probably did.
And you saw some signs.
I love those bread bowls of soup, though. Oh, it's like, would you like bread with that as a side order? I'm like, I still don't understand.
Especially if it's like broccoli and cheese.
Yeah, that's the one I get. That's it.
It's so bad for you, dude.
I'm bad for me. Geez, I thought I was eating good when I ate that.
Just because it has
because it's not a steak sandwich or something.
That's probably better for
normally what I eat.
You need a dietitian like ASAP.
Anyway,
but you probably went and bought your broccoli and cheese soup bowl.
Yeah.
Bread bowl.
Came up with that idea.
And they said, you're like, how much is it? And they're like, pay us what you think we're worth.
I forgot to say
and you came back in so excited.
Yeah.
And you're like, let's do it. And I think we tried it. But the thing is like, it's that's what people, that's what they want.
Yeah.
They don't want to be ripped off. They don't want to have to, you take the guessing game out of that. But anyway, I think that going back to the whole ROI argument, you have to go out. You have to market, you have to campaign, and then you figure things out. Right. And another thing I believe big in on marketing, because there's two different things. There's marketing and there's advertising.
Right. There's a part of it, marketing.
Right. Marketing's a bigger world.
Bigger umbrella.
Right. And I don't think a lot of small business owners
they don't understand that. They think it's just the promotion aspect.
Yeah, they think when you say marketing, they think just advertising.
Right.
Like
we tried that and it doesn't work.
Yeah, that doesn't work.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Word of mouth is what we were like. I'm sorry, I'll just keep coming back to that. I've heard it so many times.
Yeah. And so you need to invest. Like if I was to advise somebody, or even with my businesses that on this that I got going on, I'm investing in the people,
right,
to communicate to the world.
Well, that's part of the marketing expense,
right?
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
But I mean, I'm not really investing in advertising right now,
right? No, I understand
as much.
Yeah,
but I'm definitely investing in the marketing of through the people, and a lot of that. Well, it's fun. You have to have that. It's fundamental.
There's a lot of stuff you can do today with social media. It doesn't cost you anything. I mean, if you're actively involved with your business and you want to really engage with it, okay, you can do so much for no cost.
So much. As a matter of fact, we built, other than the vehicle wraps, we had $0 marketing budget for about 10 years.
Right, but the activity level was high.
Just crazy.
Right.
It was crazy.
That's part of marketing, though.
Yeah. And PR is part of marketing. Media relations
PR is
part of marketing.
Pricing's part of marketing.
Absolutely.
The product itself is part of marketing.
There you
it's
go.
all part of marketing.
Yeah, branding.
Everything falls under it.
It does, man. And I think that small business owners short sell marketing. And they don't... If you start up a new business and you don't have, everybody knows I got to have somebody that runs the shop, or I got to have somebody that fixes that or does this, or
got nobody in charge of marketing.
But no marketing investment whatsoever. You cannot do it.
Blows my mind.
It's nuts, man.
I was talking with a small business owner the other day. In fact, it was the mom of one of my students who did his project on his mother's business.
Oh.
And she wanted to talk to me afterward. Nice lady. Turns out she owns a cleaning service and is based in St. Louis, and it serves realtors. I asked her if she knew my cousin. She goes, "Oh yeah, she's one of my clients." My cousin was the #1 real estate agent in St. Louis at one point. She's quite a successful seller. Her husband was a Cardinal baseball player, which was a good lead-in for her to some good clients.
Sure.
But anyway, so she's doing no marketing at all. She's got a list. I say none at all. She sends out an email about once every 3 weeks to a list of 4,000 agents, which is good that she's got that list.
Yeah.
I said, now why don't you start trying to send out like 3 a week? Okay.
I love it.
One every 3 weeks. I mean, come on. Yeah. Just send out 3 a week.
3 a week or 3 per month?
No, 3 a week.
Oh, that's
3 different stories of good things, bad things, what happened.
Relevant content.
Yes, all stories about stuff.
That's what I love about you, man. It's like your relentlessness is tried and true. Like, you don't spam, because the thing is, spam is created whenever I send you an email and you have zero interest in it.
Right.
And then I send it to you again.
And again,
I send it to you again.
Yeah, right.
Trying to get your attention. That's spam.
Right.
But good marketing is when I send you content that you're interested in.
Right.
That's helpful for you.
Right. You actually want to save it in some cases. Yeah. It's true. You want to share it. You want to save it. Yeah. I mean, it's not that hard to do. Again, though, I think you've got to be engaged with your business. Mm-hmm. If you're not mentally engaged with it, you don't see the successes, the failures, the testimonials, the things that went well or things that other providers are doing poorly. You've just got to be intimately familiar with what's going on out there. And then the content's not that hard to create. If you get in the habit, I think, of doing it at certain times during the week. Like I write my Zweig letter article every Monday morning at 6 a.m.
Really? That's what you
do? Always. It's like some people get up and, sure, I got to have a couple cups of coffee and some
donut.
A donut and some Lucky Strikes while I do it. But, it's the first thing I do.
Man. Do you think we get Lucky Strike to sponsor this podcast?
Oh, no. I think that's illegal.
That's right. It's true.
Cigarettes are cancerous and terrible for your health. There's no question about it.
Yeah, that's a bad idea.
Yeah.
Terrible idea. But I mean, writing that content, you have to be like kind of back to the whole thing of a business owner not being engaged in the business.
Right.
Like, man, that's so detrimental because you can't even understand what your customers are wanting, what the market's needing. You can't market. You can't do any of that stuff. And I would say, though, that the good news is that there's two things. You could turn the corner real quick and make a huge impact on the business. If you're a business owner and you found yourself being passive and not interested, and losing passion, you got to flip that switch, and you have the power to do that. Or B, you have the power to go out and actively find somebody that will buy that business and get out from underneath.
Yeah, exactly. It should be one of those two things.
Totally.
I think. I totally agree with that.
Yeah, because a healthy, sustained business is actually really attractive,
right,
to another person that's wanting to get something off the ground and rolling. I mean, you got such a good springboard there.
Well, that was a big theme of my class this year in small enterprise management. Is buying a company is a viable gateway to entrepreneurship and fixing it.
Yeah,
because there's
especially from a tired ass owner.
There's so many tired baby boomer owners. There's going to be a huge turnover in privately held companies because the baby boomers are dying off and getting out.
Dude, and you can get in, man. If you could get in and you're just marketing minded, you could freaking blow that thing up.
I'm telling you. Well, we've got our buddy Richard Scott.
Yeah,
this is what he does.
That's what he does, man.
Yeah, that's part of it. You just buy these companies and you put better marketing in place and do some things to get the people re-engaged, and it's not that hard to be successful. It really is that constant engagement, though. And another thing I was just thinking when you were talking, it's like this business here, this podcast videos is a separate company, right? That we buy services from here at Big Talk About Small Business.
Right.
So, and this is a service that your company provides to a lot of other people doing podcasts.
Correct.
By being a customer of your own business.
That's exactly the point.
Don't you learn so much? It's like,
dude.
I'm buying glasses from midcenturymodern.glassware.com.
Yeah.
Because I want to see what happens.
Yes.
I can go through the process and see what's good and what's bad.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating.
Yeah. It's totally the point, man.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why it all circles back around, but it keeps you engaged in understanding where the problems are.
Right.
And then being able to also understand the value of it.
Yeah.
And then how can we build products and services in the podcast videos business that can help mine and your problems that we're having stickiness with?
Exactly.
Have better podcasts. We actually, what was cool.
I think it's such a great tactic.
Yeah. And a quick testimonial to it is we have Parker, who's been on our show before, that works for podcast videos, sitting down here giving us ideas about how to improve our podcast.
Right. That's great. Think about it. He does that for clients too.
Exactly.
Okay. That's super valuable. Because he's engaged with the business, it provides a higher level of service.
That's right.
To the customer.
That's right.
The employee does.
Yeah. And had we not been doing this podcast and developing that relationship, now it breaks down the barriers, and you don't have that customer nervousness and scared to lose money or a client thing, but you rather have two folks that have developed a relationship from day one, so that we can flush through a lot of these inefficiencies or stumbling blocks that me and you might be having.
Right.
And then you can apply that to all our customer base.
Exactly. That's the idea right there. You're the test model.
Yeah.
I had these clients once. I was fascinated with this. They were based in Boston, architects and engineers, and they did a lot of work on malls. They did tenant build-outs for new spaces for mall tenants. They rented a space in a mall that they designed, and they opened up a candy store and went through the build-out process for their candy store, and then they had their employees, including owners, take turns working there.
Yeah.
So they could see from the perspective of a mall tenant what issues they had.
Yeah.
I thought that is freaking brilliant.
It is brilliant.
Yeah.
Instead of fighting against your clients because you don't understand the problem.
Be one.
Yes. Dude, it's such an easy thing to do, man.
Yeah.
I mean, like, and it's so valuable. Like, that puts you ahead of your competition. It helps you understand how to market the value proposition in your marketing.
Wouldn't you love to be selling work to a mall client when you know that's what your firm does, and you could tell them about that?
I'm a mall
tenant myself.
Yeah. And what I found, and we can help you avoid that. That's how we're better than our competition.
Nobody else could make that claim. I would be like, shit, I want to deal with this guy. He knows what we're going through.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And instead of like the construction industry, which just continuously ignores the complaints of every customer on the freaking planet.
The thing you got to realize with them is they have enjoyed a situation where demand exceeds supply for so long because we have inadequately trained supply of construction workers, craftsmen, laborers, whatever. There's just not enough of them out there. So they've always been in this excess demand, which allows them to be horrible and still be in business. You know, I was in that industry myself. It is just absolutely, I'm sorry, people, it is a horrible business, and you will almost never get what you want and what you're paying for, okay? Let me just say.
Or on time.
Or without them screwing up 6 other things when they do whatever their chore is.
They'll go over budget, over time.
Yeah. Cut through the last guy's work, screw up the floors with their granite, whatever.
Dude, that is okay. That is an area. I'm sorry to say, like, I've actually been thinking about it more when we talk about AI and all that stuff. Like, that's an industry that's going to get rocked with AI and all that type of stuff. And there's going to be a lot of casualty in that, as far as like people being able to depend on that as a source of income. And it's going to get kind of ugly, man. I don't like that, but at the same time, you can embrace it. You can evolve with it. You have to evolve with that technology, or else.
Construction companies don't invest in anything other than tools and equipment. Okay, they don't, and they don't want to do that.
It's not. I mean,
they don't want to invest. They're not very investment oriented. The majority of them.
I'm making a painful prediction that that's going to be. It's going to be there's going to be a lot of folks that aren't going to be able to rely on what you're talking about because of this new technology advancement going on in that industry.
On the other hand, no AI is going to take the place of some carpenter out there in the field finishing out a house. Somebody's going to have to do that.
Yeah, I know, but man, I agree. I think it's going to be a long time, but there will be a day that where, like, because of the inadequacies. Am I saying that?
You got it. Yeah.
Did I say that right?
You said it right, yeah.
And the inefficiencies and the ineffectiveness.
Oh,
those voids right there is what drives people with the technological know-how and the engineering and the robotics. They look at that and go, what a gold mine.
Yeah, it's true.
And if the industry doesn't start making changes,
robots that could work 24 hours a day, you know,
they'll find ways to build frames in an assembly process and get them shipped in a way. They're gonna advance the logistics to get things there.
Sure, yeah. There's definitely ways to do stuff better, especially if you start getting into modular.
Oh, dude, it's gonna. Well, I mean, everything can be modular.
Yeah,
custom modulation.
Right. That's a
modulation word too.
Custom modularization. Great minds.
But I mean, I'm just being. I've been thinking about that a lot lately. Like it's just one of those areas that where people are going to start getting.
No, I'm sure. But yeah. Anyway, I don't know how we ended up on that subject.
Yeah, either just getting pissed off because people don't engage with their business.
It's true.
And stay with what's going on. I mean, I think another good thing on all that topic. Are we almost out of time?
Yeah,
we are. Okay.
Yeah.
But another thing on that. There was an event that happened that really demonstrated the passivity, the tiredness of a lot of small business owners.
What was that?
COVID.
Yeah.
When COVID came around.
No kidding. The ones that responded to it and the ones that didn't.
Dude, it was like,
You're right.
House cleaning.
Yeah, it's true.
There's so many people that that were not engaged were forced to quit. Whereas today, it's kind of come back, and historically, it happens. You have so many people that are not engaged that don't quit, and it just lingers on.
Yeah, a little cleansing process of getting out the bad.
It was.
Yeah.
But the ones that survived that, dude, they freaking raked.
Yeah, well, and they're better businesses today for it because of some of the practices they adopted. You know, I mean, we could talk about restaurants all day. I'm sorry. I'll be critical of them.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them did not respond. If you want to talk about COVID, I mean, that was the best place to look.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I think.
But I remember during that time though, going by Tropical Smoothie here,
mm-hmm.
and I was bumped into the owner, and I was like, you know, it's kind of like right early on. I was like, man, I'm sorry that, you know, I mean, this is tough, right? I'm just sorry that you're having to deal with this. And he looks at me and goes like, dude, we are busier. I'm making, you know, we're doing more business right now than like 3 to 5x.
God love him. That's great to hear.
I know, but he was like, man, I'm just, you know, I got involved. I mean, I stayed open, figured out the way to do this, and we're just killing it.
Yeah. Well, they're smart.
Yeah.
We went in a new restaurant last night in Fayetteville. I'm not going to mention the name, restaurant/brew pub. And the service was so bad. My wife and I sat down at the bar, okay, that was not completely full. And it had most of the seats full. And the bartenders, 3, never once looked our way, acknowledged us, served 3 different people who walked up to the bar, never cleaned up the stuff that was in front of us and said, hey, I'll be with you in a minute.
Yeah.
We sat there for somewhere between 10 and 15 minutes and got up and left.
You just can't do it.
Okay. I mean, they couldn't even say, hey, I'm sorry, I'm slammed right now, but I'll take care of that while they pick up the stuff in front of you. They simply ignored us.
Can't do that in that business.
I mean, I will never go back there again.
There's certain businesses, every business has certain things that you just cannot do.
Yeah.
Like if you're an engineer, you cannot make mistakes, you know, and put your seal on that.
Right.
In the restaurant business, you cannot have fantastic, superb, excellent customer service.
I know.
Relentlessly.
This was so bad. It was remarkable. And my wife's ex-husband's friend is the one who opened it.
Yeah.
And he told us to go there because the food is good.
Yeah.
So, of course, she immediately told him what our experience was there.
Yeah.
He relayed that to the owner, who said he was there and saw us leave. Okay.
Oh, no.
And offered some excuses about new people, okay, which I don't want to hear.
Yeah.
Train them. You should be back behind the bar then yourself.
You should be sweating, man.
Okay. And anyway, and offered to give us a free meal, but we're not going to go back.
Yeah. I'm blaming.
You know? You had one shot, you blew it.
That's right.
You know, that's the way it is today. It's like when you go to New York or somewhere. I was in New York last week for a board meeting there, and the restaurant service quality is so high and the food quality is so high. But you know why? Because there's so much competition there, and the customers are going to be so picky.
Yeah. Yeah.
They have so many choices that if you don't do an outstanding job,
that's right,
you're done for.
Yeah.
You know?
That's right.
So anyway, it's all good stuff. The good news is with all this, loads of room for improvement.
Absolutely.
Every single business that you look at, there's loads of room for improvement. So if you're listeners out there, you need to take a good hard look at yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you need to pay some people to be customers of your business, or you need to be one yourself. Tune into the market and what they're telling you.
Another thing, if you're a listener and you've always wanted to start your own business, if you just come in with a big bag of give a crap and engagement and attention and dive in like that, I mean, you'll
probably be successful.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You will prevail, and just do that long enough.
Exactly.
Yeah. Don't give in to the failure's great mantra that we see on LinkedIn every day. I had one LinkedIn post I clipped. I took the name of the person out of it, but failure is great. We should be celebrating failure. I'm like, no. I completely disagree with this guy. Okay, let's give a participation trophy to everybody too.
Yeah.
That builds strong character.
Can't do that.
So
can't do that. Yeah. So the opportunities abound.
Opportunities everywhere.
It's actually encouraging conversation because it reminds me, like, at the end of the day, it's, sorry about that cliche, but it's really not that hard, right? It is not that complicated. It is not some sort of sophisticated MBA, Harvard pro forma calculation with 20,000 years of research behind it and 2,000 degrees in a state of genius and IQ that only 5 people have. That's what I think a lot of people block themselves from. If you have something inside your being that says, I want to own my own business, I want to go do this, I want to solve that problem.
Right.
Don't do it. Go do it.
Do it. That's the best way to figure out if you're going to solve the problem or not.
Yeah. And have confidence that it doesn't require all these things. It just requires relentless attention, focus, engagement. 100%, everything you got.
Yeah.
But that's the hard part. That's why a lot of people get so tired. But a lot of times they get in business by accident. You don't know why a lot of these people that, like these owners that are
true. A lot of them, they inherited the businesses or they got divorced. We had some divorced spouses who got businesses.
Get depressed.
Right.
A lot of things happen.
Yeah. It's not for everybody.
It's not.
But
also the horror stories of it are a lot of times have nothing to do with just being an entrepreneur. They may not have been entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
So you can't look at those case studies.
No. You can't. It may be that they just screwed up because they never had what it took.
Right. Or maybe they just didn't think that marketing was important.
Yeah, exactly.
They got into plumbing and it was just about
doing good plumbing. Just doing good plumbing.
Just doing good plumbing.
Word of mouth.
Word of mouth.
Yeah. Whereas the dudes with the toilet seats, the wraps, where it looks like they're sitting on the toilet as they drive, they get all the attention.
They do get attention.
I use one of those guys now. Yeah, I do. That's the way his vans look. But I'll tell you what, I got old plumbers I could call who don't call you back or spend a week before they get there. These guys, I can call them and they show up.
That's all you wanted.
It's, so who am I going to call? The owner. I call the owner who's probably in his 70s. And still involved and owns all kinds of stuff. Does not need to be doing this.
He loves it.
Yeah.
It's called life.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, well, I don't know anything else to do. I'm just going to keep going. Yeah. But he's got a successful business. I'll tell you that. He's got his son involved with it and they're really growing it. I mean, it's a lot bigger than I realized when I started asking him questions one day as he's out there digging in my yard to fix a sewer line.
Great. Good for him, man.
Yeah. And I mean, the guy's fantastic. Not only is he happy doing what he's doing, he's built this great company that's far bigger and has tons of value in it because of the assets they own and the revenue it generates. But he's also really good at what he does. We had this problem where the city was trying to tell us our sewer was broken and it was our responsibility to fix it. But it was broken in their street, and he just argued with them and got all his equipment out there and proved to them that the problem was under the street.
Nice.
And they had to fix it.
It's great.
And it saved me somewhere between $8,000 and $12,000.
It's awesome.
Okay. Who am I going to call? That guy.
It's because he cares.
He cares. If I text him at 6:30 on Saturday, he's going to respond by 6:35.
It's fantastic.
I love it.
It's called having purpose in your work.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm here to say it's okay to have your work as part or even a large part of your purpose in living and being alive.
It is. It's okay. It's not
okay. It's good.
Yeah. It's not work versus life.
No. We've been taught way too much. All these other things are so important, but really, if you can find purpose in your work.
Right.
And I love that.
Right. Or
it's fun.
We could talk about purpose versus passion. Some people say it's got to be purpose over passion, but you know what? Passion goes a long way too. If you're just interested in the subject, I mean, I like motorcycles. I'm not necessarily saying that it's the most noble endeavor to sell motorcycles, although I do think they help a lot of people.
Sure.
But I love them.
Yeah.
So it's not hard for me.
It's okay.
Okay. I think about it a lot. What can I say?
Dude, it's passionate.
You know? Yeah.
Passionate. It's fun, man. It's like it keeps you going in life. Like it's like I can't imagine at this point in my career doing something that like I'm not passionate about doing. And when I start getting in a space where I'm just not happy about something,
time to get out.
Yeah. Or time to change your role.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's what I did with the building and construction business. Yeah. And then eventually my wife basically abdicated and instead of delegated a lot of stuff that landed on her plate.
Yeah.
And she finally got sick of it too.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you start thinking that, it's time to get out. It's okay.
It's okay.
You don't have to do something for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Do something different.
There you go.
All right.
All right, man. Good talk.
Same here. And this has been another episode of
Big Talk About Small Business.
So check us out at www.bigtalkaboutsmallbusiness.com. Sign up for the podcast. So subscription.
Yep. Subscribe on YouTube.
Yep. YouTube
or things, man. It just helps.
It does. We need subscribers to be able to continue to do this because at some point we're going to have to get some sponsors. But fortunately, my rich Uncle Eric over here is bankrolling this operation for now.
No,
it's true.
No.
But anyway, take care, everybody. And if you do have questions, send them in to Eric or myself.
We like that.
Here. And what is our email address?
It's info@bigtalkaboutsmallbusiness.com.
Great.
And you can go to the website too. We have a form on there. You can just submit through the form.
Yeah, we love that.
Super simple. We love that. We're doing this. Why do we do this? Why do we spend the time every week? Because we actually enjoy having these conversations.
We do.
And helping other people out.
Right.
And so if you have a question, it would be really cool. And we got some lined up.
Right.
But send more in because at some point we're just going to read off questions in our podcast episodes.
The tougher they are, the better.
Love it.
Throw us your real hardball here.
That's it. I like it. It feels good, right? That's why we're doing it.
Yeah.
Talking about being passionate about something.
No, that's
helping
why
people in business.
It's why I teach. It's the most rewarding stuff ever is, with the feedback we get from our listeners.
Yeah.
It is so
cool.
rewarding.
It is really cool.
Seeing them be successful, just like my students.
Yeah, exactly, man.
All right, Eric. Thanks a lot, everyone. And we'll see you next week on Big Talk About Small Business.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of Big Talk About Small Business. If you have any questions or ideas for upcoming shows, be sure to head over to our website, www.bigtalkaboutsmallbusiness.com. and click on the Ask the Host button for the chance to have your questions answered on the show. Stay connected with us on LinkedIn at Big Talk About Small Business. And be sure to head over to our website to read articles, browse episodes, and ask questions about upcoming shows.